And we are live.
Yes, the famous
Welcome.
words.
Welcome. The millions of people are streaming in now as we speak. the hordes thronging to this live stream.
So have you visited the Dog and Duck recently, or your local watering hole, or what's the vibes?
The Dog and Duck.
Is that
no? There's one called the Turnpike down the road.
Turnpike. Is that a fish or like something you used to skewer somewhere with a medieval combat?
No, it's one of those turnpikes. Are those? It's like where you had to pay a toll. You know, it's like
right.
There's a they would stop you and you have to pay a tax to go through. So,
yes. Okay.
Turnpike lane. Oh, I see what you're saying though. Like, it sounds like pike, doesn't it? No, I think in this context it refers to that.
I was looking at. I'm coming back to London around mid-May for a few days before our Warsaw boot camp. And I was looking at accommodation, and I can stay in the best value thing I could find was the Spread Eagle pub in Wandsworth Town. But it actually looked like a lush room. It's 70 quid a night. It looks pretty good.
Have you tried? Oh, you did the Travel Lodge in where is it, Lewisham before, didn't you?
Have you stayed there as well?
No, but I've walked past it. I know where it is, but that's
it's a bit of a shithole. But you know what? When London prices are so extortionate, if you try and stay like Airbnb or hotel, it's just, what else can you do?
It's ridiculous.
Apart
it's like minimum. It's almost like minimum 400 quid a night now in central.
Anywhere
London.
Decent. I mean, I've got a hotspot list on Booking, which actually come in around 100 a night for actually reasonable place if you book in advance. Yeah, there's a Novotel in Greenwich as well. The DoubleTree in Hilton, weirdly, in between London Bridge and Southwark. If you book that in advance, it's like 80 quid a night, and it's proper.
And that's not bad. That's a decent spot.
It's a good pad, and it's right. You know, it's right in the mixer. Because ideally for me, typically we meet up, don't we, do some content, and I like just peruse around London, pretending I'm going to do things of importance and do nothing. But I like easy access to that, and you have to be central. And I've done the Krauser for a while now, which is when I go back to London, see my parents, stay with them. But as people that travel will know, you kind of fall back into this weird, almost adolescent vibe again. You know, your mum's offering to do your washing, and it's not very in line with this kind of masculine alpha character building, you know. And it's like they're never not going to see you as their son, right? And kind of teenager. So it's a bit. I was talking to Eddie about this, the habits guy I'm traveling with, and he was the same. He's like, I just can't stay with my parents because you hear them bickering away, but also you just fall back into this kind of adolescent vibe, and it's hard not to succumb to that.
It is kind of weird because I haven't lived with them, but I went down and stayed with my mum and her husband over Christmas. And even
how was that? Didn't you go down recently something with your dad as well?
Well, yeah, I saw him. I saw him a couple of weeks ago, and I'm seeing him again because he's getting married. So I'm seeing him again in a couple of weeks.
Did you stay with him then, or did you just meet him?
No.
Right.
No.
Because that's the thing to do, isn't it? It's stay separate, suck up a huge, hefty bill, but just for respect purposes, and then see them.
Well, what I've done with my dad in the past, because he lives in Brighton, but he also started to get funny about people staying in his flat for some reason anyway. I don't really know why. And he has actually offered since. But what I've preferred to do is just get a hotel for a couple of nights. So stay in a hotel in Brighton and then, go over to see them during the day and stuff. So that's worked.
That's the way to do it, isn't it? That's the way to do it.
There's a Soho house in Brighton now, actually, on the beachfront.
I mean, that must be gay. Of all the Soho houses, that must be incredibly. Can you imagine that during Gay Pride?
Well, I don't know, because I went to have a look when I was down there, and it's quite nice. Just went in. I mean, it wasn't particularly. It was just full of boring-looking couples, to be honest. But they've got a lot of outside bits and stuff. I mean, it was raining, so obviously no good. But I can imagine in the summer it would be absolutely awesome. And probably very gay as well. Yeah.
We're just waiting for the one in Bogota to open, of course. Have they got one in Buenos Aires?
That's a good point. I'm not sure, actually. They might do.
Sao Paulo?
Sao Paulo, they do.
They do. So we could potentially tick off Sao Paulo if you make it over there from Bogota. That'll be cool. So while Troy is checking these important information, we do have an upcoming immersion, House of Seduction, Bogota, 16th to 22nd of April. Myself, Troy, Les, David Garcia in an amazing, luxurious pad, 7 clients, and you're going to be hitting the day game hard, hitting the bar game hard, and then having parties each night where you bring all your leads back to the house and go wild. There's some wing girls helping out on nights out as well, bringing over opening girls for you. The BDSM guy, Mr. Justin, is going to be there giving some free advice to those on the boot camp. Laveau, the voice guy, may be popping down to say hello. And Eddie, the habits guy, will also be there. So real full house. So if you're interested.
Yeah, proper naughty. Looks like there isn't one in Buenos Aires at the moment, which is a bit of a shame.
No, I'm surprised and slightly disappointed.
I know, yeah. But Sao Paulo would be interesting. I'm quite keen to check that out.
Mate, there'll be some smoke shows in there. Artsy smoke shows, probably.
Yeah, proper naughty. Well, that is the planned itinerary, isn't it, at the moment?
Yes, and also, yeah, because especially coming back to Europe, it's way easier to fly back. You can't fly direct back from Buenos Aires, but you can from Sao Paulo. So, yeah, for sure.
Hallelujah.
So what's the topic today? What's
the brutal truth about female dating behavior?
Yes, indeed. It's my Instagram live. It is. We are live. And no one's watching. I mean, the millions are watching. So the brutal truth about female dating behavior. Number one, attraction is emotional, not logical. A lot of men approach dating like a checklist. They think, be nice, be reliable, be respectful. But attraction is driven by emotion, tension, chemistry, presence. Women often respond to how a man makes them feel, not just what he says. So Dr. Selk will be spinning in his chair with delight.
How does he make you feel?
It's literally all that, isn't it? And all these men think, I can say these lines, but with no emotion and not really giving a fuck about being there. You know, almost this, let me just say stuff and hope it lands. It's like, no, you've got to trigger something in her. Yeah. But how to practically apply that? Because should guys are going to then think, right, I've just got to act like Russell Brand the whole time. And that's not really what we're saying either, is it?
But guys, I think there's a sort of binary effect, isn't there, where guys think it's one thing or the other. So we were talking to a client last night who had the opposite idea, because he was saying, oh, I know I've got to be more stoic and alpha and unreactive. And we were saying to him, well, no, you've got to emote a little bit, because if you go in there, you can imagine the kind of thing he's going to do. He's going to turn up, shoulders back, like, hi, and try to play the strong silent type in the interactions. And that's not going to work either. The Russell Brand pre-allegations archetype was completely the opposite of that, but he was arguably one of the most, seductive characters that's been on mainstream TV for a long time. So, yeah, I don't know. You've got to emote a bit, I think. You've got to make her feel something for sure.
Is it a case of decide in the scene, wherever you happen to be with the girl in question, what you're trying to make her feel or how you want to play that scene, or is it just wing it on the fly and hope for the best with a baseline of playful, grounded energy?
Yeah, I guess so. But I think generally speaking, if you think about self-amusing as the baseline, I try to go into all situations with some degree of self-amusement, and I'll probably crack a few like jokes. I mean, not like a stand-up comedian, but I'll probably make a few humorous observations or things I think are humorous anyway. And I keep that pretty standard, whoever she is. Like, it's not, I don't know, I can't think of a situation where would I deviate from that and try to play it more deadpan? I don't know really. But also as well, you want to be sort of alternating between those states as well, don't you? There's a case for being more deadpan for a bit and then going into a more flamboyant kind of phase as well, isn't there? So I'm not necessarily tailoring it too much to the individual girl or the situation. I think it's more just, this is who I am, and if you like it, you like it, and if you don't, you don't.
So it's almost just, she just happens almost a bit of a passive audience, and it's the Troy Francis. And would you say that's the case? You're not really engaging with her, particularly changing it to the individual.
Well, it's a good question, actually. I'm trying to think back now about how I've done this, really. I mean, obviously, you're looking at her, you're looking at the signal she's giving, you're looking at the cues she's giving, and I mean, it would be stupid not to calibrate to some extent based on that, for sure. Like, if I'm sort of coming out with what I think are witty one-liners and she's just sort of like, it's just not landing, then obviously it would be, you should change course. But in general, what I mean is the character that I put forward in those situations is pretty similar each time. It's not like it's not like I'm looking at the girl and going, oh, she's a serious one. Okay, I'll be serious then. Or, oh, she looks like a fun one. Okay, I'll be super fun and light. You know, it's a bit more like I'm just coming in as the souped up version of Troy Francis, and then it's if she accepts that, she accepts it. If she doesn't, she doesn't. You know.
So when you say souped up version, because this is going to be, I think this is important for guys to know. What does that mean? Because guys will be like, "Hold on, you're fake. You're being fake. You're acting." So what would you say to that? Because we kind of are a souped up version, aren't we? In the scene.
I mean, there is. Well, we talked about this before. There is an element of performance. I think, in early days, but that is
it's the Robert Greene Art of Seduction stuff, isn't it? Because he goes, it should be a bit larger than life. It should drag them into a fantasy. Women are fucking bored. They want something that's a bit larger than life.
Yeah, exactly. So there is an element of performance to it. Yeah, but the girls are also doing that. You know, it's not just me. The women are also doing the same thing on their side. Because
do you think they are? That's interesting.
I think so. Yeah.
And of course, women do change. Women do change depending on the container they're in, because they will act totally different around one guy to another. Because if the guy's super nice and a bit of a flannel, they're basically going to probably try and steal the frame a bit, or just give him a bit more test. Whereas if the guy's very dominant, very alpha, they'll often very much play the leadership role. So I think the woman absolutely adapts like water to the container she's in. So I think it's important to kind of understand how you're coming across.
Yeah.
And always, I think that, the baseline things in play are always calm nervous system, if possible. So calm and relaxed, self-amused, not really taking her too seriously, and leading, in brackets, that would be classed as dominance. I think that as a baseline emotional home around women is important. And obviously, I think I do calibrate a bit. Like if I see the girl really responding a lot to physical touch or to my certain types of jokes, I'll ramp that stuff up.
Yeah.
But if she's a bit more laconic and held back, I'll also kind of mirror that energy. So I think it is important you adapt to what's the energy in the room, but you don't want to change your personality like a chameleon completely as well. It's a very nuanced thing, isn't it? And this is where we really need to spend time with guys to be able to advise properly, situation by situation.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm trying to make me think about this when I'm trying to think back to recent sort of experiences with this stuff. I mean, like I say, I think I do calibrate to some extent, but what I'm saying is I don't go in. I'll calibrate in the moment. I don't go into the interaction like the client we were talking to, who was basically saying, I think what I need to do is be more stoic and alpha in these interactions and sort of make that blanket decision before he even meets the girl. I don't do that. I just think, okay, I'm going to go out. I'm going to be a little bit more flirty than I normally am. I'm going to be a little bit more expressive than I normally am. I'm going to look for humorous things to say because that's all part of the performance. And then essentially I'm going to go in with that. Now, obviously, then when I meet the girl, depending on how she reacts, I'm going to change it up a little bit because, I mean, ridiculous example, but if you go in being all cheeky chappy and coming up with some good one-liners and all this kind of stuff, and then she says, oh, yeah, my aunt just died or something, then obviously it would be ridiculous to go, oh, auntie, oh, look, and like carry on riffing off of that. I mean, so, yeah, of course, you've got to calibrate to some extent based on the individual, but I wouldn't sort of... If it's the dichotomy between the strong silent type or the Russell Brand kind of verbose kind of guy, I think it's somewhere in the middle, and I wouldn't deviate too much from that before I actually go in.
Yeah, that's a good point. Daniel Craig's James Bond, kind of, isn't it? But the danger with that is being overly serious. A lot of these clients are way too serious, try and be too cool.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. And I think that's what the guy was saying to us yesterday. And I think that's come from years of watching content on the internet, which says, yes, women respond to alpha males. And, you've got to be the most alpha male gets the most feminine, beautiful woman. And there's truth in that. But guys have a very one-dimensional view of what that means because they think, right, alpha male. Okay, someone who doesn't smile very much. Someone who's just the strong, silent type who sits in the corner, glaring at everybody. Right, okay, I'll do that. And obviously that falls flat because then you're basically a bit of a boring fucker, right? So you've got to... Being alpha doesn't just exist in that plane. You can be very alpha and also the life and soul of the party, right?
Yes, I think it's important to go and actually spend time with women in isolation you genuinely vibe with as well, because if you do, it tends to flow very easily and you don't really have to think about this stuff. You just naturally connect. Yeah. But if you're trying to force it uphill, and often this happens from meeting a girl from Tinder because you don't know each other, it's it's annoying. It's not really landing and you don't really vibe with her, and then you try and force it to try and get her to chase you a bit. It's just, if the vibe's not there, the vibe's not there, which is why we're so big on the idea of meet her beforehand in real life, say hello, see if there's a spark. Because if there is a spark, honestly, a lot of this stuff takes care of itself. You still have to be calm, grounded, self-amused, but it's just a lot easier to run with it. And if there's no spark, because it's a bit of a blind date, it can just be a car crash. And you try harder and it just comes across as needy. You feel like a bit of a weasel.
But I think if that is happening, then it's probably worth just cutting off the date at some point. If you can really,
then there's a skill, because most men are too nice to walk away, aren't they? They're like, oh well, I'll either get myself drunk and I'll just get the job done, or I kind of just like being around a woman. It's been months. Let's make this work. And you're not really into her, and she's not really into you, and that's just dragging uphill, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think if you've really tried everything and it just doesn't seem to be going anywhere, then probably you should just cut it, really, to be honest.
Rabbi it smoothly. I'm just going to shut these curtains, because as beautiful as it looks that I've got a cross across my my person, it's slightly annoying for viewers.
Yeah. Well, put your questions in the chat while he shuts his curtains.
No pun intended. So, point number 2 is respect matters more than affection. Many guys try to earn affection first, but the order is usually respect number 1, attraction number 2, affection number 3. If respect drops, the rest collapses quickly. That's why men who appear confident and self-assured often do better than men trying hard to please. So this is an argument for installing this kind of, it's the Troy Francis show. I'm just going to act this quite convincingly and see where the chips fall. But there is, certain conviction for sure. You should always really be quite sure of yourself, shouldn't you? And even if you're not sure of yourself, even if it's like inside the duck over the top of the water, right? You're seemingly very still body on the surface of the water, but legs frantically pedaling. You've got to learn to just have all those emotions, that turmoil inside, just kind of rested on the surface and just not be showing it.
Well, you should at least pretend, or try to pretend that it's better to pretend to be sure of yourself than floundering.
Because also act as if, that kind of act as if, isn't it? And if you do that enough times, you actually do start calming down. It's like, big deal.
Because again, we've got clients who will talk about sort of like, oh, I'm waiting for these rock solid signals from her that she's into me before I speak to her or before I ask her to go on a date or whatever. And it's like, well, you're not always going to get those. In many cases, you're not going to get those very, very obvious green light signals. But the job is to just take your shot anyway. And then if she says no, fine. But you're not. I mean, signals are great, and if you get them for sure, that's a signal to move forward. But if you don't, unless she's actively, obviously, just doesn't like you, doesn't want to be around you, then it's incumbent upon you to try to move the thing forward. And that's coming from a place of self-respect, really, isn't it? That's coming from a place of I'm worthy of this. This girl, she's beautiful, but I also have amazing qualities as well. It's almost that assuming that she's into you.
I think so many of our clients, they're just so desperate to get some women that it just comes across. Women can just sense a sort of desperation, can't they? Or they don't value themselves. Yeah. And their whole basis for feeling good about themselves is, can I get a girl on a date and fuck her?
Yeah.
And it's the wrong frame to be in with. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think women
should, I mean, but going into these things assumptively, like going into the approach assumptively, going on a date assumptively. Yeah, of course she likes me. Why wouldn't she?
Especially if you met her through cold approach, because she's actually spending time to come out with you. You've had a 5-minute conversation. She's keen. She's on your side. She hopes you're going to fucking win her over.
Well, I remember that guy. I think I called him Stephen in the book, where the dark triad character, blah blah blah, who's really prolific sort of seductor or whatever you call it. I remember saying to him once, seducer. Sorry. I remember saying to him once, he met up with this girl, or he'd gone to meet with this girl that I think we mutually knew or something. And I said, oh, so was she into you? And he went, yeah, of course she was. She's not made of plastic, is she? You know what I
But
mean?
it's just that confidence, that inherent
Yeah,
like.
yeah. So it's like, yeah, she's not made of plastic, you know. And it's sort of like, well, why not have that confidence? Now, whether she was or she wasn't, I don't know. But it's better to go in with that attitude rather than, you know, guy we were talking to last night who's like, oh, you know, I keep wondering if I'm good enough for these girls. I feel like they're out of my league and all of that. No, fuck that. Flip the script. Go around going, well, they're kind of out. They're, you know, I'm kind of out of her league, to be honest. But you know what? I'm a generous guy. I'll chat to her. Whatever. I'll throw her a bone. You know, she can come along for the ride if she likes. I'm kind of out of her league, really. But you know, whatever. Now, whether that's objectively true or not matters less than holding that belief.
Absolutely, because women pick up on your self-perception. So if you think you're the fucking shit, guess what? That's reflected back to you with women. Women just simply mirror back your own internal belief system, which is why your self-perception, your identity of who you are is so important. And it's not, you can't be objectively verified. Like, she just takes you as you are. She doesn't know your deep, dark secret. She doesn't know your traumatic past of getting rejected by Stacey when you're 14. She just plays you with what she sees right now and how you come across. So you can be a hero to one, you can be a fucking fool to one girl, and then a hero to next, literally just by changing your state and how you're coming across.
Yeah, Mark Nutsack,
but adapted. He's actually watered it down, the fool. He doesn't make it about women. He changed it. You can't be I don't know what he did, whatever. Number 3, women test behavior constantly, not always consciously, but women pay attention to how you handle pressure, whether you keep your word. Do they? On that one? When I wrote that, I'm not sure. Whether you stay calm in conflict, whether you bend your boundaries. These moments shape attraction more than compliments or gifts. Whether you keep your word, that's the only one maybe they don't really, because it's how you make them feel, I think, more than keeping your word. Although if you really take the piss with them, probably they do care about that, don't they?
Yeah, I think it depends in what context, really, you keep your word. Because, I mean, I'm sure we've had the experience where, you know, you were supposed to meet that girl one night and then we flake on them, and then if anything it makes her even more keen in a way, you know. So sometimes, it depends, but you know what I mean. I think if she's attracted to you, then you can get away with a lot. Not that you should, but you can. And actually,
how invested and how attracted she is, the more you can get away with. But the key point, women test behavior constantly. How you handle pressure. 6 years of challenge, great quote. Life challenges you, and women are the bystanders. It's not necessarily even the woman consciously testing herself, but she sees how you act around other people. She's watching everything. She's sensing everything. How does he shake the guy's hand? How do they welcome him in the restaurant? How's his body language? Again, you're under scrutiny. You know, it's it just is what it is. But the key is not to self-monitor. It's just to act very confident wherever you are.
Yes.
And if you do that enough times, it's a pre-instilled behavior. You're not changing depending on the context.
Yeah. And again, fake it till you make it.
What's that? Fake it till you make it. Yeah, 100%. Point number 4 is, of course, attention is a powerful currency. Social media amplify this massively. Many women receive constant validation, messages, attention from men. That environment can create behaviors like validation seeking, comparison, attention addiction. A man who understands this doesn't compete for attention. He filters for women who are grounded. Any comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's true, isn't it, really? I mean, so he is filtering for women who are grounded. So he's not paying attention to the sort of external things that she's got. He's more sort of looking at her. He's more filtered. So the one good thing that comes out of that, I would say, is that he's filtering her. He's filtering them. So it's not that he's just accepting whatever comes along. He's actually actively sort of, it would appear that he's got standards right. And I think that's a really cool thing to have as well.
It's super important, isn't it? Because most men, random woman shows them a modicum of interest, they drop everything to fuck her. And really,
they drop everything. They drop everything to move in with her.
Yeah, and what that really communicates to the girl is this guy's a fucking loser, because they want the gift of chasing the guy, like a high value guy. They want to have to fucking fight for it a bit, right? It shows that you value your own life. It shows you got other shit going on. It shows you just don't have time to fucking do. You've got to be this, like Rich Cooper talks about it. It's true. Like, you have to be almost this kind of alpha god in her mind. And she really is chasing you, trying to pin you down for your attention and your time. Now, at the beginning of this journey, it really is a bit of an act because obviously you're not in that position. But you've got to stop scrabbling for these fecks of scraps of female attention. You should never really be liking women's statuses and posts. Yeah. You can only justify that if you fuck them and are currently fucking them. You know, I may sometimes comment on a WhatsApp status, you know, and it's usually something playfully dismissive rather than a compliment. Like, it's not. Attention is good if you're fucking the woman, but you really shouldn't be paying attention to women you're not actually inside. Honestly, it sounds crude, but it's not.
So if you're literally inside her and then you happen to be scrolling Instagram at the time,
at the same time. But it's true. It's like, don't reward women. Women crave attention. The coin of the female realm is male attention. So all these guys are orbiting hot women on Instagram, commenting on their posts like they've got a chance. You're just absolutely sealing your fate. You've got no chance, right? And even if she came across you, she'd be like, "You're the chump that actually wrote on my post. You don't even know me." That's what she's thinking inside. She's not going to say it outwardly. But women just think this guy's a fucking buffoon, right? Do you really think DiCaprio is going to scroll through Instagram and start liking some random post? Oh, you look so beautiful, heart emoji. I mean, fuck off. You've got to think about the power dynamic here. You know? Some of the
things that guys do on social media is just absolutely ridiculous.
Mainly Indian men. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at a attractive girl's, you know, picture, and then there's a bunch of posts underneath, all these guys, all these heart emojis, and then they do those long, like, sort of almost sonnets to them, like, "Oh, you are so beautiful. There is sunlight in your eyes, and I can't," you know, and all this kind of nonsense. It's like, and she never likes, you know, there's no reaction from her at all, obviously, you know.
The only thing that sometimes on WhatsApp status, when I try and raise the dead, I'm back in the town, I may comment on someone's status, say something on a WhatsApp status, right? Never Instagram. WhatsApp statuses are a hack for those that travel because men don't use them, but women all post on them and watch them. So as a man, post stuff on there to get attention. It's way more attention grabbing than Instagram because you have to have a personal WhatsApp, and no one men post stories on WhatsApp, I've noticed. But the flip side to that is if I'm in a town again, so for example, we're back in Bogota, I'll see a couple of girls that I've seen previously, had something with, but I haven't spoken to for a while. If they haven't responded to a WhatsApp status I post, I may send one comment on one of their WhatsApp statuses, but it's usually something like playfully dismissive. And what I'm really measuring for is just objective data. How quickly does she reply? Does she reply? How quickly does she reply? And what does she actually say? Because those things will give you an indication of whether she's still high interest or low interest. And it works. So you've got to be tactical, I think, with your attention with women. Women crave attention of men. That's how they function. You shouldn't be giving, just the too long don't listen. You should not be giving attention to women you're not actively dating and sleeping with at all. Yeah. And then when you are doing it, it should be selective attention. It should be some attention and then withdraw, right? Not because you're tactically like thinking, right, phone on flight mode, let me shut the curtains like Tuska's just done in his dank bedroom. It should be you're on a mission. You've got shit to do. You don't have time to be sitting around fucking messaging her all day. Or on, for worse, is phone calls. You should never really speak on the phone to a woman you're even in a relationship with unless it's emergency, in my opinion. Yeah. You've got shit to do. You're on your mission, you know.
Exactly.
And they want that. That's the frame they want. They want the man to be on his mission. They want you to play James Bond, right? And they want to be a side piece to that mission. Occasionally you see them, you give them full attention when you're with them, but then you withdraw. You've got other shit to do. That's how it should be. That's the dynamic. So if that dynamic's not in play with you and women, you've got to reevaluate how you're actually framing the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah. And again, you know, we know plenty of guys who they start seeing a girl, they see her a couple of times, and then effectively she's basically living at his flat. Or
it's absolutely, and they go, no, it's fine. This girl's different. It's like, no, she's not. She understands this shit inside out, right? Yeah, she's at the forefront of female evolution in 2026. She is the best her genetic lineage has to offer. She understands you're a flannel because you've dropped your entire life to fucking shack up with her and eat Dominoes on the couch with her 7 days a week. She knows that. She might be going, oh, yeah, it's great to see you, Mr. M. Not that Mr. M, a different Mr. M. But really, inside, she's getting drier than Gandhi sandals because she's like, this dude's actually a bit of a loser. Why is he not doing anything? Why can he spend 5 days in a row with me stroking my hair? I mean, come on. What the fuck? Seriously. So some tough advice. Well, just honest advice there. Number 5. Emotional volatility often gets mistaken for passion. Some relationships feel intense because they're full of arguments, jealousy, dramatic highs and lows. But intensity is not the same as compatibility. Stable relationships often look calmer and less dramatic. Do you agree with that or no?
Well, I wouldn't know anything about stable relationships.
I was going to say all of your past history is volatility, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
when you did get into a stable union with your ex, it kind of went south quite quickly, didn't it? Because both of you were used to the high highs and the low lows. And same with me, actually. When I moved in with my ex, it was sayonara very quickly because it was fucking boring.
Yeah, but it also wasn't actually that stable a lot of the time, partly because I was chemically maladjusted for a lot of it. So actually there was a lot of even within that, there was a lot of instability and a lot of chaos, which again, you know, we talked about this last year. It wasn't that I was deliberately doing that some kind of a strategy, but it probably sort of it probably kind of kept things kind of passionate, I suppose, for a longer period of time than it would have been otherwise.
Right. So the key premise is, yeah, emotional volatility often gets mistaken for passion. I think you can really vibe with a woman and not necessarily have these crazy, you know, highs and dramatic lows and kind of, I don't know. I think men are often settling down with the wrong fit women. And again, the way to screen this, if you think about the traits we're looking for, my ex, for example, was low self-esteem, high drama, which is a terrible combination if you think about it. Low self-esteem means she needs attention from external sources, often other men. She had quite not pornographic, but quite revealing Instagram, which, you know, it's only one purpose, right, to get likes. So that's one thing. And she was high drama. She liked the chaos of up and down kind of nature things. So for a stable relationship, that's terrible. Now, I was no angel either. I was probably mirroring some of those traits back to her. But really what you want is high self-esteem, no need for external validation. You often meet Russian women and Ukrainian women who don't even have an Instagram, or it's private, just for friends and family. Perfect, right? Low need for it. So high self-esteem, low need for external validation, and low drama. They don't need constant, you know, craziness.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what you're really screening for a long term, something more long term. Now, for a short term, doesn't matter. Actually, high drama, low self-esteem is perfect for one-night stands. So it depends what you're looking for.
Yes.
Point number 6, attraction can override good judgment. Both men and women do this. When attraction is strong, people overlook red flags, incompatibilities, behavioral issues. Many chaotic relationships begin because chemistry blinded common sense.
Well, I mean, 100%.
Do you find that?
Yeah, 100%. But that's kind of what the Mark Manson thing that we've been talking about recently. Well, I think he was saying in that video clip where he was basically, the thesis was, if there's this really strong, intense attraction at the beginning, it's often a bit of a red flag. And like I said before, I do know what he means. I don't know that would stop me necessarily, but I do understand where he's coming from.
Attraction can override good judgment. Yeah, it's true. Okay. Number 7, we're racing through these, thank God. We love the audience. We love hearing the comments. Number 7, boundaries reveal character. When a man sets clear boundaries, some women respect him more, some walk away. So this is interesting. Either outcome is useful because it reveals because it reveals who they really are. Either outcome is useful because it reveals who they really are. Trying to keep everyone happy usually leads to a bit losing respect. I agree with that, actually. And I've had a history of doing this. You blur the lines, don't you? Because you want to kind of keep the girl in a good sense of emotion. But actually, from her point of view, if she's acting out, she wants to be told, no, that's not fucking cool. You've got to learn to call women out in a calibrated way. It's not about throwing your toys out the pram and going mental, in my opinion. Massive loss of control, just personally for me. I'm more about like the kind of keep it calm, but no, that's not cool. And just this tone of like, I can walk if needs be, you know. But the other point to make is actually in the early phases, you talk about this when you're dating someone, you don't necessarily want to crack the whip, do you? Because you want to see what they're actually doing. You don't want to influence their behavior because they will reveal all about themselves in the first few weeks. And then you can make a calibrated decision. Is this really for me or not? When you see a girl. So trying to see it objectively, I think is super important, isn't it? Without influencing. Or do you sometimes step in, or do you really let them just play it out just to see what they do?
Well, I mean, I think for me in the early phases, it's always tended to be pretty casual anyway. So I don't really have the authority in that situation to really crack the whip anyway. Because if you're only seeing somebody once a week or once every couple of weeks, or you don't even live in the same country, it's a little bit rich to be like, no, a high quality woman doesn't go to the bar with her friends or whatever, right? Because it's just not. She's going to turn around and go, well, I haven't seen you for 2 weeks. What are you talking about? You know? So I don't really like, so I by default, I do tend to do the more observing thing. And, you know, a lot of people just fall by the wayside. Like a lot of people just either you get bored with it or she gets bored with it and you just kind of move apart anyway. So the ones that remain are then the ones where their behavior has been cool. And also you have a vibe and you get on really well and you think, oh, I could actually see myself spending more time with this person. So it's sort of, it's not a hugely calculated process for me. It's more just like the ones who probably weren't meant to be fall off the end anyway. And then the ones who there is a good fit, they tend to sort of prolong.
Yeah, because I think we're both the same. We're quite laconic in the early stages, aren't we? We don't invest much. And what we're really screening for is how interested is the girl to drive it forward.
Yeah,
that's I'm really, because I don't chase, right? I'm very much, I want to see, is she actually keen? Because if she is, she will make it clear. She'll instigate messages, she'll comment on stuff. And it's really, I'm just screening for women that are quite into me without trying to do anything else.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, you know, in the early stages, it's sort of like all's fair in love and war, and you're in the dating game, she's in the dating game. Maybe you've got some other options, maybe she has, whatever. You're not at a stage of seriousness yet. Now, whether you get to a stage of seriousness, it depends on really how things play out.
Less is more, though, isn't it? Less is more, because most guys want to try and they're thinking, fuck, there's other men involved, right? I need to be really attentive here to show my intent and to show that I'm there. But actually that backfires as neediness. So actually it tends to be the situations I do less is when the girl tends to come more to me, because these other guys, I think, just burn themselves out because they're just too focused on one woman. They haven't got an abundance thinking behind it, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas if you're out there spinning plates, as Tomasi would call it, and actually getting after it, you're posting interesting. A lot of the heavy lifting for me is done through WhatsApp statuses. And I'm a bit like an OnlyFans, a sleazy OnlyFans that rips off Indian men, because I've got about 300 clips of videos or photos in a folder from various years that I'll just recycle every 3-4 months. And obviously it's a different audience on the phone.
Yeah, I've seen some of the same ones. I've seen some of the same ones coming up, actually.
You're clued in, but most women aren't, because they drop off, new women come in, and it's like, you don't need to constantly get fresh material. It's just, or at least it was slightly different music on WhatsApp, and they're like, ooh, and it's interesting.
I'm getting drawn in as well, though. It's working on me.
Well, and also you're very confused because you're like, I just had a steak bake with him. Why is he flying a plane like 2 minutes later? What's he been smoking? Yeah. What have I been smoking? Right, we need to keep Toad off the menu.
I don't remember getting a helicopter to Greg's, but
it's that kind of thing, isn't it?
Sad news, guys. By the way, there was a Greg's on the Strand that I used to go to. I went to a few times because I was going to that gym on the Strand, and I would go to the Greg's afterwards. Very healthy lifestyle, and unfortunately it's closed down, so sorry to have to be the one to break it to you guys. But
so if you came out of Charing Cross station,
well, you turn right and then go quite a long way up, basically where LSE is. It was kind of opposite LSE.
Okay, right, the way down.
But what I did discover was a proper sort of greasy spoon-esque kind of cafe just down from it. So I sat in there the other day and had a sausage and egg sandwich. It was actually really good.
What would they charge?
No nonsense.
For the fry up in there, what would they charge?
Probably about 15, 16 or something like that.
We're going to have to go down there. I actually miss having a good full English.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was a sort of greasy spoon. Like it was an authentic cafe that wasn't a branded cafe, which is the main thing. But it wasn't like a real low-end greasy spoon. It was sort of quite nice, but it was proper, you know, it wasn't like just a Pret or one of those things, you know.
Well, could you imagine a Pret doing a full English? It'd be very... Because Pret's technically French, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry, I just meant it wasn't a chain brand, you know, because so many cafes in London now, they're just the chains, you know. So
no, you want the individual ones, don't you? Called like Miss Marvel or something. You know, it's got to be.
There used to be loads of them back in the day.
They did, yeah.
But you can still find them though, you know, places that do, you know, full English and stuff like that.
The other thing that's quite sad is you don't see many good pubs in London anymore, just that aren't chains, that do really good food as standalones and have a good vibe. It tends to just be a lot of chains now as well. But if you go out to the countryside in the UK, you still get amazing pubs. You know,
well, the whole
roads.
pub culture in London is sort of. I mean, I was listening to a guy the other day who was talking about like, oh, I remember in Elephant and Castle, I used to go to this pub and you could buy. There was a geezer selling, suits. There was a guy selling meat in there. Obviously, you could buy drugs.
Meat.
Yeah.
There's meat out of a suitcase. Like look at my stash, and it's like zebra cuts, like horses' heads.
Like selling microwaves. You could buy anything in there. It's fucking great, and all the characters and everything. I mean, that all seems to have gone now, really. I mean, and saying that, I mean, I went into this place up the road, which used to be a Wetherspoons, but it was so shit that even Wetherspoons sold it off. I went in there last year on a Thursday night, and it was dead. Really, there's only a couple of people in there.
It's quite sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
The death of pub culture.
Yeah.
God, the glory days. There we go. Point number.
Oh, my friend Paul phoned into on British culture. My friend Paul phoned into LBC the other night. I happened to wake up and hear the call. And
does he often phone in?
Yeah. And the topic they were discussing was, because I don't know if you've heard, but they're talking about taking Winston Churchill off one of the banknotes and replacing it with something else.
Right.
And so the presenter was saying, right, so who would you put on the banknotes then? And Paul calls up and he's going, well, I put Danny Dyer and Guy Ritchie on there, proper English culture,
Danny Dyer and Guy Ritchie on one note. I mean, that's just
separate, probably separate notes. But...
Danny Dyer, does he really make the cut? Guy Ritchie's actually, quite a famous guy. Danny Dyer, though.
Well,
does he? A geezer down the old Vic. I mean, he's almost a parody of himself, isn't he?
Yeah.
Football Factory was a great movie, to be fair, but that was his swan song. I'm not sure what he's done after that of any note. Okay, point number 8. Social media change dating dynamics. Photos like platforms like Instagram or Tinder alter behavior dramatically. They introduce constant comparison, attention competition, endless perceived options. Understanding this environment helps men avoid taking every rejection personally. So this the brutal truth about female dating behavior. Yeah, I suppose it does. Any comments on that point? So social media drastically changed dating dynamics. Platforms like Instagram or Tinder altered behavior dramatically. They introduce constant comparison, attention competition, endless perceived options. Understanding this environment, it helps men avoid taking every rejection personally. Agree or disagree?
I agree that the platforms have changed behavior, but whether it helps them to not be worried about rejection is another thing, because I think rejection still stings, doesn't it? Even if you understand this stuff, because it's say you match with a girl on a dating app and then you're talking for a bit and then she just ghosts you. You could say, well, this is just the current modern dating landscape. I understand that she's got multiple options because of the apps, blah blah blah. But is that really going to touch the sides? I'm not sure. But the answer, of course, as we always say, is just to get off the apps and to get out into real life.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's interesting. Do you think a woman who's getting hit up on Instagram loads? Do you think she's then more likely to turn down a guy in real life who cold approaches?
Well, I was going to. It depends. I know.
I don't think it actually does affect it, because I think she just plays what's in front of her and it's energy exchange. If the guy's very charming in a suit, looking good, and he spits game, she can't not feel attracted. So I don't think just because she's got 400 blokes hitting her up on Instagram doesn't necessarily mean she's going to rule out that guy.
Yeah, because
on the street.
Yeah, no, good point. I mean,
we hack the system constantly, don't we? We travel and we're leveraging sexual market value because we're scarce assets, but we're approaching women and we'll go on dates with these women. They've got huge Instagrams. They've got loads of options. Yeah, but it doesn't mean they haven't, responded in the moment to us. The energy we're putting out.
You're always going to beat the guy, unless you've met him. You're always going to meet the guy on Instagram or the guy who's in the dating app or whatever, because that's a 2D thing. And even if the banter's quite good in the messages or whatever, but you're there as a real life person, and there's so many other metrics that you can be judged on. Then, so we talked about it. Your body language, your energy, your presence, your eye contact, elements of touch, all this kind of thing, which you just can't get across. So then the guy even if he's a great prospect, the guy on Instagram just gets forgotten because he's just some 2D image, right? It just doesn't have the same power.
And I've literally hooked up with girls. This isn't a brag because I see the girl and I'm like, okay, she's cute. Let me be curious about her. But especially in Brazil, I've dated girls and I've kind of been like, she wanted to show me something on Instagram. She's whipped it out during the dating process. You know, when I've seen her a couple of times, she's got 100, 200, 300,000 followers, sometimes more. And it's like online, she's a very inflated ego, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything. She just plays what's in front of her.
Yeah.
You know, but if I'd hit her up on Instagram, there's no way I'm getting near her. That's the other point.
Yeah, exactly. I met a girl once who had 1 million followers.
Yeah, there was one recently I met who had 3 million. But then during the day, I was like, oh, what's that Linktree thing beneath her thing? And she was like, oh, she started getting weird. And it clicked. I grabbed it and clicked down. It was OnlyFans and privacy. And I was like, so do you perform with men? She was like, yeah. And I was like, you know what? Let's leave this here. And she couldn't believe it. Her flabber was ghosted. I just walked out because she was expecting, okay, 3 million sub. I think women just think, right. It's a bit like, I think women sometimes view it like as if they would dating a man with 3 million subs, like they'll do anything for the power. They don't really understand it doesn't work the same way around. Like we wouldn't give a fuck about banging Queenie or Hillary Clinton, would we? Even in their primes, just because they're powerful women. It doesn't work the same for men. It's like, no, okay, you've sucked a load of dick. I'm sorry. I'm out. You know,
it's also worth mentioning as well. I mean, women can build social media followings really big,
incredibly easily, man. Incredibly easy. I've met women who are average women who've got like 50,000. I'm like, what the fuck are you? How have you done that? Like, give me the secret.
I've seen accounts where the girl is, you know, she might be pretty, but she's nothing amazing, and she's got like 200,000 followers or something.
Is it they all have OnlyFans though? Do they all have the Linktree thing with an OnlyFans? Is that really where the?
Yeah, a lot of them. Some of them do, but they're not building that. They're going to the growth platform is going to be Instagram. They're not going to like you've got to even if you have an OnlyFans. As far as I understand it, I don't have one, but as far as I understand it, you've got to push people to the OnlyFans. So what tends to be the Instagram would be their bigger platform, or they would grow the OnlyFans through the Instagram, not the other way around.
Unless they're all over Pornhub as well, which I've also come across. So they're independently famous, and then people floods their Instagrams.
I don't know how people like Lily Phillips and Bonnie Blue did it, but I think in general you've got to build your brand outside of OnlyFans. I don't think OnlyFans is necessary. Like if you just stick up an OnlyFans account, I don't think the average girl is going to get like a huge following off of that.
No, because the whole point is it's private, isn't it? It's like you can only do it. People know.
So you've got to promote it outside of OnlyFans, I think, as far as I know.
Anyway, the seedy world, the pornification of the modern dating world. Oh no, he's left me. Senor Francis. No. Let's see if he comes back in. He has a habit of premature accliculation with me, so it's not unknown. Whilst we're waiting for Senor Francis to return.
Sorry, I just needed a break, guys. Sorry.
No, it's all right. Cheeky line. Yeah, one for the troops. Number 8, we have 10. Social media check. No, we've done that. Number 9, long-term compatibility requires stability. Excitement can start attraction, but long-term success requires emotional maturity, honesty. God, it sounds like Jerry Springer. Honesty, trust, mutual respect. Those qualities matter far more than the initial. Do they? I mean, let's go through these. Emotional maturity. I mean,
well, what is this? What is this saying though? Is this saying to build a long-term relationship, or is it saying to maintain attraction, or
long-term compatibility? So I guess you actually see her over a period of time. What does that require? Long-term success requires emotional maturity. I would agree with that. For example, recently seeing a Brazilian girl, she was cute, but whenever I have to call her out about stuff, she would kind of just she's very conflict avoidant. She just kind of avoid the conversation on text and then just restart it a few days later like nothing had happened. That smacked to me actually like a real lack of emotional maturity, because it's like I'm not the most emotionally mature person. And if I'm saying something, you've got to kind of respond, right? I think you've got to. It's a hard one, isn't it? Would you say that's important or not?
I think overall, yes. I think if you're trying to build a proper long-term relationship with somebody, then yeah, for sure, obviously it is. But I also think emotional immaturity, in a way, keeps it all a bit chaotic and exciting, and that can actually keep the thing rolling for quite a long time.
If you're not considering something serious, yeah,
but that's not great. That's also not great life advice. Do you know what I mean? It's not. I mean, if we say, yeah, just be emotionally immature. I mean, sure that you get some girls who sort of get hooked on that, and they're kind of really excited by that in a weird way. But it doesn't make the basis of a very good relationship, I don't think.
What about honesty and trust?
Well, I mean, to some extent, I think you've got to be able to trust the person. But I never trust anybody really, so that's difficult. But I think you've got to be able. I think, yeah, theoretically, you do have to be able to trust her that she's okay. She's got all these hypergamous urges and all the rest of it, but she's not actually going to go out and sleep with the pool boy. And I think
this again, where in the early stage, it's just important to just see what she's actually like. Because again, if she's very validation seeking on Instagram, if you're out with her and she's looking at other men, even very subtly, it's a red flag, isn't it? It's not. And the thing is, don't take it personally. You're just assessing her behavior, because really she's going to act not the same with every man, but there's going to be some thread of consistency, isn't it, in her behavior?
I think, yeah, sorry, what's the next bit?
No, go ahead. Well, just, trust and honesty. Long-term success requires trust and honesty. I think trust is a hard one, because I don't trust her. I trust her to always potentially change her mind. That's what I trust. And so, yeah, if you start dropping the ball and losing the frame and being a bit of a flannel, I trust 100% she will start looking at other men. I'm the same as you. I don't fully trust a woman will never cheat. I'm not. Yeah, because same with us. Like, I reserve the right to be able to, if I'm not attracted to the girl anymore, find someone else, right? It's kind of fair enough. I don't think you 100% need to think she's definitely never going to cheat on me. I think that's actually naive. And I think that means you get slightly lax with it all. I think you need to be on your toes and leveling up. That's the way to safeguard something.
It's a very tricky one, really, because in theory, on paper, yes, makes absolute sense. She should trust you, you should trust her. But in reality, can you ever really trust somebody? And actually, if she, I think one thing I'd say from personal experience, I think she's got to trust you to some extent, because if she doesn't, even if she doesn't leave you, it does make things fucking difficult, because she's always going to be needling you about this and that, and what was that WhatsApp message from 7 years ago, blah, 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 all of this kind of nonsense. And so she's got to have some inherent trust in you. And I think if that gets frayed, it makes the whole relationship very difficult. But it doesn't necessarily mean she'll break up with you, because in a way, in a perverted way, she might want to hang on. It might make her want to hang on to you more if there's an element of not total distrust, but there's an element of she's never quite sure of you. So that's
final one is counterintuitive. Yeah, final one is mutual respect.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Well, I think it's way more important she respects you than you respect her.
Yes.
I mean, do you really respect a girl you're dating? Do you genuinely respect her? You might enjoy a time, but do you respect her? Do you really respect her, in the way they've got to respect a man? I don't think so.
I don't respect women. Okay,
but it's it sounds very dark, but it's not the same thing, is it?
Well, look, it depends what you mean by what we mean by respect and all the rest of it. But I can say this completely honestly. I have actually lost respect for a couple of women, and it has put me off them a bit. I can say that, because they've done something, whatever it is, not even necessarily cheated, but they've done something, and I look at it and I think that's just a bit, I don't know, it's just a bit lame. And then I have sort of lost respect for them. And funnily enough, even as a guy, it has sort of lessened my attraction over time. So I think I don't know. I think you're right. It's sort of, for her to respect you is super important. What does it mean for a guy to respect a woman? It's a little bit more intangible. But I think just her having a certain level of, I think a lot of it is down to, does she do what she says? She says, right, these are my values, this is my life plan, these are my, is she genuinely acting in accordance with that? And I think if she isn't, over a long term, I think it does start to eat away at it a little bit.
Yeah, I think for me as well, the respect thing, if they don't do some things that I really admire in myself, then I automatically don't really take them seriously.
Yeah.
So if I hook up with a girl, but I find out, quite quickly she doesn't do any exercise, it's kind of hard for me to respect her at all, because I think it's super important.
So,
go to the gym, right, and you look after yourself.
That's a good example.
Hygiene is a massive one. I mean, that's not even respect. That's just an automatic deal breaker. I've hooked up with a few girls in recent times where they just don't smell very good, right? Bad breath, slightly bad other areas. It's an automatic termination, and that's not really a respect thing. That's just maybe a lack of self-awareness. But yeah,
you've got to clean the beaver, ladies.
I mean, it's just basic, isn't it? But
wash the beaver.
Anything else? It's just how they operate with people as well. I'm big on this. Is a massive thing. If people don't treat waiting staff badly, male or female, or they don't like animals, they really don't like animals, that's usually two massive red flags. Kind of lose respect for them there. I think being kind to people is super important for me. Like, I don't go giving people shit the whole time, but I try and treat people relatively well, especially if they're not in the same position as me. And I think it's a poor reflection of character if you just dismiss people or treat them quite rudely. You don't know. I don't like that, actually.
Yeah, so I agree. I mean, if you think about it like this, I think as guys, we are very visually based. It is about physicality. It's about how she looks and everything like that. And often that can override everything. But I was on a date with a girl.
Being honest, yeah.
Often we probably overlook quite a lot. We probably overlook more than women do.
100%.
We fancy them. She's attractive, whatever. But I mean, I was on a date with a girl. I told this story before. French girl, a couple of years. It's quite a long time ago now. She was physically very attractive. She was my type, but she was super snotty and just being really unacceptably rude to like the staff in the place that we were and everything. And it did start to put me off, in spite of my programming, in spite of the fact, she's an attractive woman, blah, blah, blah. I'm a guy, we'll overlook anything. But it did start to chip away at the sort of like, this is just, and she did a few more things. And in the end, I just sent her on her way, because it was just like, look, I just don't really want to deal with you, So I think, but those are kind of quite outlier cases. I think they've got to do quite a lot for the respect to tip over into non-attraction.
The problem with women is they're quite indirect, a lot of them, especially feminine girls. So they're not necessarily going to do overt stuff that gives the game away, are they? It's later where you actually see their character, and that's always dangerous, because you have to actually get to know someone to really see who they are, right?
Yes.
But really, it comes down to, is she falling into your frame? Is she laughing at your jokes? Does she like it when you fuck her? A lot of it really comes down to that, doesn't it? For me, it does.
Yeah. Indeed.
Okay, so that's it. Any parish notices you want to go through?
Well, we are supposed to be hopping on a call, aren't we? But we could go through.
What time are we hopping on a call with Walrus?
Well, it was meant to be 30 minutes ago.
Oh shit! Well, he'll be hiding in there. He'll be hiding in his room under the covers anyway. So,
well, okay. Well, we could do a couple. So let's have a look. So Dumpty Donut Trump is a AI says, Troy, need some field coaching. Prefer London rather than SA due to proximity. Do you still do coaching in London? So I answered this before. The answer, yes. The answer is yes. Just drop me an email, troy@realtryfrancis.com, and we can have a chat about it there. Put your WhatsApp details as well, if possible. Did you publish that novel that he was writing a while back? Yes, I did. It's called Rampant Roger. It's on.
What's this? Why have I not been informed about this?
I did inform you, I think. Oh,
What's it about? Is it about a dildo?
No, it's about a politician. It's about a rampant politician who just affects lots of people. So, it's available on Amazon under T. Francis, actually. But if you look up Rampant Roger, you can find it. You guys are right that content is basically poison for approaches. Content is great and has given me a ton of motivation. So are we right or are we wrong then?
Oh, I think he means Instagram shit is terrible for dating, but your content is great.
Oh, okay. Okay, fair
Cripple Crows X. I love these names.
Your content is. Okay. I recently heard from a masculinity guru that approaching women for sex is simping. Thoughts on this?
Well, you don't want to be walking up to a girl like some of these social freedom pranks and literally going, "Would you bang me?" and have a camera and you log like how many women said no. But you want to be. It's your job as a masculine energy to initiate. So look, we've talked about this before, but what's the word you use beginning with A? It's taking back the power of doing it, like sovereign. But I can't remember what you said. What do you usually call it? I can't remember.
Agency.
Agency, yeah. The agency of just walking up to a girl you like and doing that repeatedly, it's very powerful, right? So you're not walking up going, "Oh, please bang me." You're walking up with this frame of, "Okay, you caught my eye. Let's see, let's have a seduction, let's have a vibe dance here. Let's see if we're, that kind of testing for interest. There's nothing on the line. That's how you want to play it.
But
not you need anything.
To say approaching a woman for sex is it's a very sort of crude way of putting it. I mean, I don't think anybody here is really walking, well, unless you're Alan Roger Curry, RIP, walking up and going, "Oh, I want to have sex with you." I mean, that's not really what you're doing. You're going up and you're starting a conversation. You're seeing what the vibe's like, and guys should be the ones to initiate that, and are expected to be the ones to initiate that. So
I'd be very, very wary of a guy that claims he's a masculinity guru that doesn't say that you should go and start conversations with people, both men and women, you want to speak to. Because again, business opportunities, right? You see someone, you think, okay, let me go and see what they're about.
Yeah.
You open your mouth. You don't wait passively to be spoken to, and you don't wait passively for a girl you like the look of to maybe come and say hello to you, which they're not going to do. You fucking go and start the thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what is a masculinity guru anyway? But I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, if there's one thing about masculinity, surely it is being somebody who makes things happen.
You penetrate the world. You penetrate the world. It's an action-based thing, masculinity. So no, I don't buy this at all.
Yeah, this is a great one. Girls in India does shows off too much of pitch shield.
How to overcome that, Mr. Tuskings, and add white girls to my hareemings? We don't know, I'm afraid, Mr. Girash. Next. Oh, this clown again.
Why did the old school belief of outcome independence fail? I.e., who cares if you have success with women? Just fun and enjoy the process. Don't be outcome dependent. Fail? Well, it hasn't failed.
No, it didn't fail. That's a great frame to have when you're being social. Curiosity, play. Playful curiosity. That's it. Done. Takes all pressure off yourself. Now go and have fun with it.
Yeah. Bongo McKee. Do you think some guys are just wired for monogamy or what? I mean, I've felt could be fine just seeing this one girl forever with 2 women in 30 years. I think it's a choice you make, to be honest. I think everybody, men and women, have got, we like a bit of variety. I think it's just, if you're at the right time in your life, she is reasonably unred flagged and you think, okay, I want to make this work, then you can do it. But it's a choice it's a decision you make. It's not like, it's not like any of us are more attuned to it than others. I don't think. I think it's just like you think, right, okay, I'm going to hang up my chips now. I'm going to hang up my condoms and I'm going to go for it with this particular girl because it's the right time for me to do that.
It's a great way to look at it rather than green flags. She's reasonably unred flagged. I'm going to give it a crack, but it's realistic.
Yeah.
Robert Glover would call it a RGW, a really good woman. And I think, look, if I date 10 women, out of the 10 women I date, there's probably one that I really vibe with, honestly. It doesn't mean I won't try to sleep with some others because I'm horny, but really vibe on a sexual level and just a vibe level, i.e. she's quite feminine and she laughs at your jokes and makes life quite easy. That's really what we're looking for.
This is a great comment here. This could be comment of the day. To win the Riz Wars, look to the jawline of a Riz Walker, you must.
But also the name, brilliant name, Hornet UK1. The names. He's like a pest disposal agency in the UK, isn't he? Taking out hornets since 1993.
So this guy, Miguel, I wonder if
it's our
Miguel,
old flannel friend from Florida, Miguel.
Is it the same Miguel? It sounds like it. Would you reply to a girl who takes 5 days to reply to my text? Or does it show super low interest from her and it's better to just let her go?
No, interesting though, I've had texts from girls literally 2 months later after meeting them. And my opening line is, so are you really that low interest or are you now single, winky face? And a lot of them just laugh and just initiate the conversation very quickly. And it just basically means they're either back. I think if it's a long enough time frame, they're just back, they're sexually available again. But if they're taking 3 or 4 days to reply to you, normally it's a sign they're just not fucking interested.
Yes. I mean, I don't know, just make a bit of a joke and just go into a conversation, see what happens. Maybe she's available now and she wasn't before. Who knows? Who knows, really? The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, sorry. The Danny Dyer film was not called Marching Powder.
There is one called Marching Powder, though.
but also that not to be confused by the book. Brilliant book written about a inmate in fuck the name of the really famous prison in Bolivia, who was in prison there for 10 years for smuggling cocaine. Great book, Marching Powder.
Why would you date that, Tusk? There's people who are sort of commenting on this whole respect thing. I agree with Troy based on behavior. I can't jive with Tusk on no respect. Why would I waste my time with someone not worthy of respect?
I was saying that there's many things I don't respect in a girl, to be honest. Respect is very nuanced. I think you know on a deep level if the girl kind of respects you or not. It's just like the public, because this can also change. I've dated women who then the frame gets lost and she loses respect for me, and I can just tell by her behavior she doesn't respect me anymore. And it really is just sneaky kind of backroom blows, you know, and you have to be aware of that, and you have to be prepared to walk. Ultimately, we all have the biggest trump card, which is just walk away. And if you have other options and abundance mentality, realizing there are billions of other women out there, you don't actually give up that much of a fuck after a while, because you realize that at some stage it's all going to go bad.
Yeah. Okay, Gladiator Fighting Talk says, I get around 1 date per week through dating apps. Is cold approach worth my time?
I'd say so, because even if you're successful on the dating apps, you're learning to flirt and banter with human beings in real life, and it's a nervous system relaxation skill. So you're going to be better on your dating app dates if you get good at socializing, cold approach, flirting with the world outside of it.
All right. Let's not over-intellectualize and pontificate on woman attraction. It's just about genetics. Well, if we took that advice, we wouldn't have a show. So, yeah. You're probably
It isn't
right,
just about genetics. I can guarantee that. As a good-looking rooster, not pulling a muscle for many years, I can guarantee it's not just about genetics.
Yeah. Where's King Cole? We don't know. We don't know.
He's probably last seen walking around St. Petersburg confusing stunners. You know, but because he was just so confident, and they were just doubling over and they couldn't believe what was happening. You know, part of them wanted to run away, and part of them were just like, oh, weird, because my mind's saying no, but my body is saying yes. And they were kind of like lunging backwards and forwards like this. It was bloody hilarious.
Christina Aguilera.
What's that?
My mind is saying no, but my body's saying let's go.
It was really weird though, because you'd see this absolute world. He's King Cole, for those that haven't seen. We were doing live streams in Russia. We met him. He came down. He was quite a short, 5'5", heavily accent skinny Indian dude with no money, studying in medicine in Russia. So not particularly high value, not genetically of great stock either. But his conviction was so high. He would approach these women and they'd automatically out of hand just be like, the kind of arrogant, pouting face. But he'd just start speaking with such conviction. He genuinely believed he could get these women. And they would it'd be really weird, because they'd be looking to leave, but they'd be drawn in. You could see they're attracted by the conviction. It was really fucking weird to see.
Yeah. Amazing.
He had great in a game, didn't he? Great in a game.
Yeah. I mean, he was like literally, he came to meet us to do we were going to do some basically free training with him, and then we ended up sort of hanging out with him quite a lot because he was quite a fun character. Do you remember the day he came to meet us? We met him about 11 or something in the morning, and he said, "Yes, I've already done my warm up. I've done 40 approaches already."
And got like 25 numbers or something like that. We're barely gotten out of bed. Yeah, it's just like, Jesus.
That's probably more than everybody watching the stream has done
ever
in their entire lives.
Total count.
Yeah. Anyway. With that being said,
final thoughts then. Final closing lines for the stream. The brutal truth about dating isn't that women are bad or men are bad. It's that attraction, ego, attention, and emotion make people behave irrationally. The key is learning to recognize patterns early so you make better decisions.
Thanks, Jerry.
No problem. So we will do it again shortly, gentlemen. If you'd like to join us in Bogota, the House of Seduction, 16th to 22nd of April, send us an email, info@jamestuss.com or troy@realtroyfrance.com. Include your WhatsApp number. If that's too far of a stretch for you to come to Latin America in mid-April, we are running a boot camp in mid-May when we begin our European leg in Warsaw, the city of tens. It's a lie. 10s don't exist. Unicorns don't exist. The city of 8.5s and sometimes 9s. Send us an email and we will be in touch. We'll join you again soon.
Bye-bye.